talking about the Calcarea Carb. I'm talking about the Calcarea Carb, especially yesterday I have talked some other drugs, like the Calcarea Force. Day after yesterday I talk about the Calcarea Force and Calcarea Flow. The two drugs has been completed. So today is I am talking about the Calcarea Carb, so that the consequence of Calcarea Carb, Calcarea Force and the Calcarea Flow will be completed. This remedy is prepared mainly from the trituration of the inner white portion of the oyster cells. The oyster cells, that is, you know the oyster cells. So the inner layer, that is to be, not the outer or the inner. Actually what's happened, I have seen so many Adivasis, they are using the oyster cell, they are burned into fire and collecting the Calcarea Carb, that is the pure Calcarea Carb, and they are using with the tobacco and tuna and so on. So that is most pure form, and the calcium carbonate is also there, which is also very useful in our mathematica. And what is happening? The constitution, soric, psychotic and syphilitic, three remedies, and the constitutional remedies. So whenever the constitution, that's because it is a constitutional remedy, it has a lot of importance, and we are not running on the basis of the disease condition, but we can treat in any disease condition on behalf of the constitution. So constitution is a very important landmark, but the constitution having a lots of importance of this drug. It is specially adapted to the leucoflammatory constitutions mostly. Then question comes, what is about the leucoflammatory constitutions? The leucoflammatory constitution is nothing but the fatty, flabby, fleshy, that type of. If you see, that is the constitution. Have you seen in, that is the, I am comparing with other animals, that is the hippopotamus. I think you have seen the hippopotamus, that type of constitution. Whenever they are running, you can see the whole body full of the fats, and if they run, whenever they run, the whole body moves about to and fro, that type of constitution. So whenever any patient of the Calcarea Carb comes to you, you can think what type of constitution it is. There the fat has been deposited here and there are so many drugs are there, where that is the fat has been deposited, and fat has been deposited, but there are some graphite is also there, even the salicylic is there, mercury group is there, there is fat deposit, but most of the time this medicine has the fair complexion, most of the time it has the fair complexion, okay, and phlegmatic constitution, they are the corpulent and unwieldy. It is a healthy regular growth that you find in Calcarea, but an accumulation of undue and disproportionate amount of fat that serves only to make the patient weak. The fact is that the disproportionate amount of fat that serves only to make the patient weak. A constitution के कारण उसका weak आ सकते हैं, fragile and incapable of sustained exertion, इसलिए constitution का साथ ये fragile है. The bone to become fragile, very brittle and sustained exertions भी है, aggravation from exertions and so on. So that the Calcarea Carb patient cannot work properly. So like the all fat people, they sweat profusely all over the body, though it's more pronounced in the head and the nape of the neck, and so it covers the whole area of the neck and wets the pillow. While sleeping, the pillows get wet further around. It is so profuse that it rolls down the face in large and bead-like drops. So the sweating like the beads. Okay, it is copious and exhausting. The smell of the Calcarea, so it is sour. That is very peculiar. This acid smell is found everywhere in Calcarea. The acid smell is found everywhere in Calcarea, and the taste of the mouth is sore. The diarrhea is sore. In fact, the patient is sore all over the body. So, if we see what is the constitution, it is to some extent, but apart from it, what is the sphere of action of the drugs? The action of the sphere from the head to foot, all the from head to foot and all the organs, all the systems is under the domain of these drugs. This remedy is characterized very peculiarly. So if it's whatever name of the medicine, the name of the disease, it can be used as a medicine. This medicine can be used as a chronic, as an acute condition, or as a sub-acute conditions. So if you know the constitutions, if you know the modalities, if you know the other uncommon peculiar rare characteristic symptoms, definitely there is no problem. But what is happening? The remedy is, I am not mentioning the name of the disease condition. Later on we will talk about it, in which condition, but it will do some blunder. But these patients have some action special upon the organs and the systems. Okay, it is nothing but antisodic remedies, the chronic of the belladonna. So if the belladonna used to be called the baby of the Calcarea Carb. Okay, belladonna used to be called the baby of the Calcarea Carb, and Calcarea Carb is the mother of belladonna. So if there is any belladonna if prescribed, so repeatedly belladonna makes harmful, so on that case a dose of the Calcarea is to be given, that helps a lot. Okay, next number, the suited to the leukophlegmatic constitution, already I have mentioned it. Healthy regular growth is absent. This is another peculiarity. Healthy regular growth is absent. Actually, growth is regular. Okay, accumulation of undue and disproportionate amount of fat. Undue and disproportionate amount of fat is there, making the patient weak. This is another problem. So the undue disproportionate fat deposition is very important to the drugs. There is the fragile, the bones have become fragile and incapable of sustained injections, I told already. And besides this, the sweats profused all over the body, runs on the head and nape of the neck, rolls the head from side to side and the least like the bed while sleeping, pillow the get wet. Acid, sour smell everywhere. Sweat is some idea if you don't mind. Diarrhea is there. In fact, the patient is sour all over the body and there is sour smell of the body. So if you find that there is sour smell all over the body, the other drugs of the resume. There is the Calcarea Phos, sour smell. Another is the antimicrobe, ammonium carbonate, hepat sulfur, nitric acid, silicea. Okay, these are drugs of the sour smell of the body and is to be found it. Next time I see sour smell everywhere, and so it's diarrhea. In fact, the patient and so any discharge from the body that becomes the sour. Okay, so we cannot forget the sourness. There is the khattapana, dahi ka mati smell that all over the drugs is predominant. Then deficient assimilation is already I have told you. That is due to the deficiency of if there is any deficient of the deficient assimilation, imperfect ossification is also there. The bones is easily brittle and the fragile. The curvature of the bones are there, and the frontals and the sutures all are the long bones have become brittle, and it's delayed walking and the teething, head too large for the body, and hydrocephalus. What you will find there, head too large and body also for body in comparison to that, and hydrocephalic head is there. So yesterday I have talked about the Calcarea Phos. That is a good medicine for the case of the hydrocephalus problem. Okay, abdomen, if you see the abdomen, basically and apparently, if you see the constitution, we must get some basic idea about the Calcarea Carb. So abdomen will become hard and the protuberant. Hard and protuberant due to the enlargement of the mesenteric glands and flatulence. Okay, the abdomen becomes distended, protuberant, mesenteric gland, and the flatulence, and so on. The scrofula, glandular, the scrofulas. What do you mean scrofula? Then all the glands are becomes inflamed. So glandular swelling or engorgement. So if there is an engorgement along with this type of constitution, we must consider the Calcarea Carb. So on and apparently on observing, first looking, we must know the Calcarea is coming. In another way, I can give some examples that will be very helpful for understanding the Calcarea Carb. That is the, suppose just see an egg. The egg is looks like that up. That is the bulk in nature, white in nature. This type of abdomen is there, and so on. So very smooth and beautiful, looks like it lying beautiful like, and this type of constitution like the egg to some extent. And before I am giving the hippopotamus like this example of this Calcarea Carb, and the Calcarea Carb prefers the that is the eggs. Okay, extreme craving for the eggs is also one of the very important factor of the Calcarea Carb. Next number, whereas the Calcarea Falls prefer the not the boiled egg, they prefer the fried egg. So they prefer the bacons, even the kebab jisko bolte. So how we can distinguish from one medicine to another? By this we have to desire, aversion and constitution basis. Mind it. Next one, देखो scapular glandular swelling and enlargement, lymphatic enlargement, and as seen in the phlegmina alba dolens. कभी कभी देखते हम जो बॉडी में कोई कोई जगह व्हाइट स्पॉट आ जाते हैं, ठीक है ना. इवन कोई कोई जगह देखते एब्डोमेन में स्कार मार्क आते हैं. whereas in some there is a fatty deposition होते हैं. And not only that, there is some the lipoma that also present, that also indicate the Calcarea Carb. Okay, and not only the Calcarea Carb and Calcarea Flow, that medicine makes helps a lot for the prescription and on first diagnosis, looking at first prescription and so on the basis of the pathology and constitution. What if they susceptible to cold? They feel is susceptible to cold. Okay, and very longing for the boiled eggs, raw potato and flour, great aversion to meat and smoky. इसलिए क्या देखेंगे, raw potatoes हमारा पास और है, aversion to raw potatoes, that is alumina पसंद नहीं करता, हमारा Calcarea Carb पसंद करते हैं. इसलिए ये जो Calcarea Carb है, इसका भी कैसे है ना, और ना raw potato, बटाटा का मापी कैसी चेहरा, मतलब राउंड सेपेट चेहरा, अंडा सेपेट चेहरा. ओके, हिपोपोटामस माफिक चेहरा, ये कौन आ रहा है in the market, by road, by anywhere, by in the cabin or in the clinics. This of first observation we can guess it, but we must not be prejudiced mind. Next, that is the aversion to meat and smoking also. The Calcarea Carb patient does not like to be meat and smoke, defective intellectual, okay, keeping him with a general state of the malnutrition. This is another factor. Do not absorb even a portion of what they have to read. At times, mind becomes completely blank. कभी mind blank होते, and do not absorb even a portion of what they read or hear. जो सुनते, जो ये करते, उसमें समझ ही बते. Overactive is the mind and thoughts, loss of quick succession that prevents the sleep. इनके तरफ बहुत सारे thoughts आते, that become very much quick succession. एक के बाद एक हजारों उसका thoughts आते, that makes him disturbed and can go to the sleep. Apprehension about the present and future. He has an apprehension, present and future, and some impending calamity. Confused, cannot apprehend anything. They become very confused, cannot apprehend anything. Dread of insanity. इसका एक भय है insanity का. Skin is unhealthy, and least scratch suppurates. Even fever sulfur is there, salicia is there, and marsol is there, and so on. The cataract and chronic dilatation of the pupils is there. Chronic dilatation of pupils is there. Lacrimation fistula is there. Induration after stage is also there. Cataract, chronic dilatation and of pupils. Okay, lacrimation fistula. So हम lacrimation fistula और कौन drugs के बारे में सोच सकते हैं. हमारे पास best medicine है, salicia है, calcarea sulf है. These two drugs is very important about the lacrimation fistula. We should not neglect these drugs in any condition, even the Calcarea Carb. Even induration after the skies. So in the skies when become indurated hard nodules, हमारे पास Calcarea Carb है, Calcarea Flow है, other medicines is different, according to the constitution and other modalities and so on. The thickness of the tympanum of defective hearings. Sometimes what is happening, the people that the defective autonia is there, and defective hearings. The tympanum, polypus of the nose, ears and uterus. Polypus nose or becomes polypus. And ears and the uterus, there is polyp. Okay. And nose and ears and uterus, these are the polypus. Polyps are there. It's a nut kanda, uterus kanda, anywhere. Polyps is there, you can think of it. Constant tendency to diarrhea. Constant tendency to diarrhea. To start with, they are hard. To start with, they are hard. Then becomes pasty and finally absolutely liquid. So pasty finally absolutely liquid is there. Okay. And intolerance of the milk is very important. Like so many drugs, Calcarea Carb is also there. Constipation is very landmark for the constipation, but also their diarrhea is there. In case of the constipation, it is very hard, difficult to expel. Other medicines, Sanicula, Silesia, there is the Calcarea Carb, Causticum, Stana metallicum, Cupra metallicum, and some metallicum groups are there. And sulfur is also there, opium is also there, and has to be removed by mechanically. Okay, and this is the intolerance to meat. Constipation generally complicated with the hemorrhoids. It is very so and so. Increased sexual desire of men and women. That is, it is to be said. But some authors does not consider it that the leukotriene patient having the excessive sexual desire. No. This is one author has some own opinion, but not the alls. So opinion ये there is a सबसे बड़ी बात क्या ना sexual desire may be absent due to the leukophilic patient. Even not the genitalia of a male patient becomes small, so they cannot have that much of sex or the sexual power. Or the females, those with the fatty flabby fleshy, they have not that much sexual desire or instinct, so they don't like it. So however, there is some controversy. So somewhere there may be the primary action and somewhere there may be the secondary action. So we should consider it on the basis whether there is a primary action or secondary action. So everywhere there is a primary action or secondary action, where there is the secondary action, there may be the primary action, or the symptoms are may become opposite. So we should not be confused in that sense. Chlorosis in young girls. Somewhere we find that there is a chlorosis of young girls. Young girl ka whiteness and chlorosis puts right many of the deviation and occurring during the pregnancy. Right many of the deviation occurring during the pregnancy. Pregnancy time deviation is there. Also useful in disorders relating to the secretion of the milk and childbirth. So pregnancy time, secretion of the milk, and the childbirth time, secretion is very important. Maybe, may not be. Okay, so there are so many fallacies are also there. There are so many drugs also there where these symptoms have some solution. So puts that is the helps conceptions. Somewhere those who are the fatty flabby fleshy, if they have not not conception. So in that cases, this medicine helps for conception, and when all organs of conception are found to be tolerably in good condition, and still conception does not take place. It is very important. Conception, in spite of all organs are healthy and proper, okay, functioning, but conception is not there, so and does not take place, we can think of the Calcarea Carb. In all respiratory complaints, beginning from the ordinary bronchial catarrh to pneumonia and thysis, respiratory complaint may be is the ordinary bronchial catarrh and the pneumonia and thysis. Not only that, in any conditions, we can think of the Calcarea Carb in that sense. Intermittent fever and those who occupations, intermittent fever, exposure is also necessary. So intermittent fever में हमारा पास मेडिसिन है, नाटक हो रहा है, इग्निश है, China South है, like this so many drugs are there, fish है. So along this is also one of them. Epilepsy, an order starts from the pit of the stomach. This is a very important organ of the Calcarea Carb. Next, this remedy also accumulation of undue, regular growth, disproportionate amount of the fat. And taste of the mouth is mostly sharp, that already I have discussed. Characteristic defeatic assimilation, That also discuss in due time, develops an undue maturity, and the bones are becomes very fragile due to the defective nutrition and assimilation. This is why the curvature of the bones are there. A common feature of the Calcarea curve, and that of the Calcarea child takes so long in learning to the work. Calcarea curve का ये सबसे बड़ा मुश्किल है. Calcarea and Carbonicum का ये problem क्या होते हैं ना, due to the defective malnutrition, the nutrition is not helpful for the development of the mental condition as well as the physical condition, and this type of irregularities are found here. The bones of the legs give way under the heavy weight of the body. Due to the weight of the body, the bones of the lower extremities becomes fragile and bend. She knocks the knees and elbows, and often we met with Calcarea babies. Frontalis and sutures take long to choose. Frontalis and sutures are becomes long to close. The head is too large for the body, and the enlargement is in many cases hydrocephalic in nature. Hydrocephalus in nature. The abdomen is hard and protuberant. Abdomen becomes hard and protuberant due to the enlargement of the mesenteric glands. Due to enlargement of the mesenteric glands. इसलिए आप क्या देखेंगे? Flatulence plays an important part in this distension. Flatulence plays an important part in this distension. The navel is sore and full of moist excretion. Navel is sore and full of moist excretions. The walls of the abdomen are very thin. The walls of the abdomen are very thin. This is also another characteristic symptoms of the Calcarea curve. Even the fat is there. Even not only that, the Calcarea fossa also is there. The abdomens are walls are thin. It is so there are so many fallacies are there in mathematics. Somewhere the controversy is there. So students are becomes very confused. What is right and what is wrong? What is to be wrong? Somewhere there is desire, excessive thirst. Another, on the contrary, there is no thirst, and so on. So to have to think, consider it. 22 minutes. And so the Calcarea mind is so confused that it does not apprehend or understand even the simplest problem of the life. So it is true that they listen most carefully or read, to or read, but their intellect does not seem to absorb even a portion of what they hear or read. At times the mind becomes complete blank, and the fear is entertained by the patient's friends and relatives at the complete state of imbecility coming to the patient. कोई देखोगे पेशेंट क्या करते हैं ना, कोई भी छोटा छोटा चीज़ देखते, कोई चीज देखते, लिजर्ड देखते, इवन इंसेक्ट देखते, वो लोग डर जाते हैं. Is this type of fear, not only here also, but so many drugs are there. The fear of insect, fear of such and such, the fear of man, fear of future, fear of ghosts, fear of reptiles, fear of water is there, fear of the light is there, and fear of man, fear of women, and so many animals, fear of God, and so many fears are there apprehension. But in case of these drugs, we have the fear of the future and so on, and very small things they generate the fear. And coming to the base, this defect in intellect and quite keeping with the general state of the malnutrition to be observed all throughout the history of the system. That's why there is the problem due to the defective malnutrition of the system. We must not, however, expect the state of mind in every Calcarea patient. Often the reverse also step prevails. The reverse condition also prevails. In spite of the bodily defect, the mind is seen to be a state of overactivity as an opium. It has overactivity. इसलिए Calcarea is overactive. ठीक है ना? छोटी-छोटी डर जाते, छोटी-छोटी चीज में वो लोगों के मन में fear, apprehension हो जाते, and opium and oxygen. Thoughts loss of blood goes to the quick succession. एक के बाद succession and the thoughts of it बहुत सारे. They have to even sleep, and they are in the utter state of apprehension about the present and the future. The mind is never at rest. This comes watching like what? Don't neglect the constitution. So constitution has like lots of importance in case of the homeopathy, in case of the homeopathy mathematica, in case of the patient, and in case of the treatment purpose. So don't neglect the constitutions. Okay, the constitution, we should remember it. At least we should have some basic conception idea, but there should not be half knowledge. Half knowledge is always false. So true. So due to the sort of fear of some impending calamity, the fear and anxiety make them low-spirited and melancholic, and consequence we find them lachrymose. इसका कारण वो हमेशा रोते 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 रहते fear में. Sometimes the fear takes its peculiar form in the shape of a dread of the insanity. ये इतना डरे हुए हर चीज में ये पागल का, it is one type of the insanity. So there are so many drugs for the insanity, but fear of future and the misdeeds and small animals also. They are afraid of losing. They are afraid of the losing the reason and are a constant state of the caution, lest people would find out the confusion of the mind. This anxiety and this dread are peculiarly worse in the evening, mostly takes from form of despair and hopelessness if ever getting well. So this is one of the first remedies we think of the scrofulous diathesis, a great tendency toward the glandular enlargement, a notice everywhere, and nutrition becomes more and more defective. In spite of the unwieldy mass, fat is undue and is emerged. So signs of the marasmus also there everywhere. His appearance of the brokenness rather than the health. So this is important. His appearance is bloatedness rather than the health. Okay. And the skin is unhealthy. Mostly the calcarea skin becomes unhealthy. There are white patches in everywhere, and there is maybe sometimes there is a fatty tumor and is there, and the less contract the scratches. Even if there is any infection or scratches, there may be suppression, and there is eruptions, ringworms, eczema, papules, pustules, acne, and blisters, ulcers, and cystic tumors is there. Cystic swelling, lipoma, and worse are everywhere to be seen. Okay, इसलिए कई जगह में cystic swelling, lupus, lipoma, these are tumors are seen. One thing to remember, always Calcarea Carb is the presence of the glandular swelling. ठीक है ना? As in Cilicia, the gestational remedy, we find thin crust forming the results of dried secretions. The eruptions are generally scaly with thick yellow pus underneath. It is a great remedy for fibroid tumors, and numerous cures have been reported through the agency. The Calcarea patients are very susceptible to cold. The least bit of cold air goes right through them and brings on all kinds of ailments. This is symptoms worth remembering, and one that topples over many others is a sensation of coldness felt in the single part of the body, such as head, stomach, legs, feet, etc. They find it very hard to keep them warm. The appetite is uncertain and peculiar. Appetite is uncertain and peculiar. We notice that there is longing for the boiled eggs, raw potatoes, and flour is there. There is great aversion to meat and smoking. So aversion to meat, this is very important medicine. And aggravation from the smoking, another medicine, even and meat is very craving. That is very important in terms of the antiseptic medicines. So whenever we think about the drugs, we must consider the desire aversion has a lot of importance. We should not neglect the desire aversion, and the desire for the boiled egg, and the raw potatoes, and the flour. And there is great aversion to meat and smoking. It is a very important remedy for the hepatic condition in the children, as they constantly vomits. They look the chubby look, but they are very slow in teething. And these children, as always, case in the Calcarea Carb, teething children, and so, bony problems, and diarrhea, as scrofulous and are constant subject to short diarrhea. Okay. Third, development of the bony tissues, lymphatic enlargement, and open frontalis, curvature of the bones, and profuse perspiration over the head, tendency to obesity with pot-bellied persons are the guiding symptoms of these drugs and pot-bellied person. Oh yeah, this one. Okay, then second.